Hello and welcome to my channel for news about the Fact Gossip 24. Please follow and subscribe for more information. Alana, your friend, is me. Let's begin. 90 Day Fiancé. Who is Sophie Sierra's friend Callum? 90 Day Fiancé. Happily ever after? Couple Sophie Sierra and Rob Warren are fighting again. This time around, the reason is Sophie's friend Callum. 90 Day Fiancé. Happily ever after. Star Sophie Sierra has introduced her British friend Callum in Season 8, and he's already creating trouble in her relationship with Rob Warren. Sophie is a 24-year-old from England, married to 33-year-old Rob from Los Angeles. Sophie met Rob on Instagram, and they were together for 2 years before she moved to the US to marry him. Coming from a wealthy background, Sophie expected Rob to meet her standards by working hard and giving her the lavish lifestyle she was used to. However, Sophie didn't see that drive in Rob. Rob also cheated on Sophie several times by talking to multiple women online. Sophie had forgiven Rob the first time since he was not physically cheating on her, but she had enough when he continued to message random women even after their wedding. Sophie moved out of Rob's house and was living separately for 2 months. Newer episodes show Sophie and Rob trying to mend their relationship, but failing, especially with factors such as Callum causing trust issues between Sophie and Rob, pushing them further apart. Sophie first mentioned Callum during 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Season 8, Episode 3, while she was on a dancing date with Rob. Rob and Sophie were finally having a good time together after months of conflict. Sophie saw it as a step in the right direction for them to make their marriage work. While Sophie wondered if these little gestures by Rob would finally convince her to move back together with him, she ruined the moment by mentioning her friend Callum. Sophie asked Rob if he remembered Callum and that he was coming to meet them in Austin, Texas. Sophie had known Callum since she was 14 years old. Sophie added that Callum loved to travel a lot, and when Sophie found out he was planning a trip to the US, she suggested he should visit her. Sophie had not told Rob about Callum coming to visit as she was living with Kay, and there was other drama to deal with. She wanted Rob to make an effort with her friends. However, Rob wasn't happy that Callum was coming from far to meet up with his wife. Sophie claimed she hadn't found the right time to tell Rob about Callum's US trip and that it wasn't something she should have hidden from her husband. Sophie also never told Rob about the fun she had in Portugal with Callum. They would go out all the time and Sophie and Callum would take turns being each other's wingmen. Callum said Sophie could be the best partner as long as she has the best man to look after her in a relationship. Callum was speaking out of experience because they had dated for a very short time when they met for the first time in Portugal. They were around 16 to 17 years old at the time, but ever since, Sophie and Callum have been good friends. Sophie insisted she was a child when she and Callum were an item and asked Rob not to make a big deal out of it. As soon as Callum said he and Sophie had dated in the past, Rob blanked out. He said he was bending over backward to make it up to Sophie for cheating on her. However, finding out that Sophie lied to him about never dating Callum hurt Rob. Sophie insisted she didn't tell Rob because her relationship with Callum wasn't relevant, and she didn't consider him an ex. Rob thought it wasn't fair to him that Sophie had just told him about her dating Callum and expected him to act like it was nothing. Callum described Sophie as a catch and good-looking. He said Sophie was great to go out with and wanted her to be with the right man. Callum knew about Rob cheating on Sophie and not taking Sophie's feelings into account. He knew Sophie had a bad taste in men and didn't want it to be the case with her and Rob since she was going to be with Rob for a long time. Callum wanted to be overprotective of Sophie because of the men in her past. Sophie and Rob split within a year of their wedding, according to In Touch. The couple has yet to file for divorce, but Sophie is supposed to be single now. However, Sophie didn't seem to have any romantic feelings towards Callum, and he too considered her a good friend and not someone he wanted to date. Sophie and Callum are great friends who are not romantically interested in each other at all. If Sophie does date again after 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, Season 8, it won't be Callum, whom she considers her friend for life.